Welcome to the Risk Management Chapter 11 lecture. I'm Dr. Bill Perkins, and today we'll be covering the crisis communication. The material for this lecture was taken from the textbook Business Continuity and Risk Management Essentials of Organizational Resilience by Kurt Engemann and Douglas Henderson. So we are going to get started. And these are our Chapter 11 objectives. First, we're going to look over the crisis communication framework. We're going to examine the importance of effective crisis communication. And we're going to identify crisis communication team responsibilities. Then we're going to review the importance of media communications. We're going to identify communication equipment and systems. We're going to identify and evaluate the important features of communication equipment and systems. Then we're going to examine the need for effective communication procedures and protocol. So crisis communication includes disseminating and receiving crisis information within the organization and with outside parties. Internal communications include safety information and emergency instructions for employees in the workplace and with management at other locations. External communications include information provided to stakeholders, media, government agencies, suppliers, vendors, and other interested parties. So during times of crisis, a failure in crisis communication can manifest into a problem that can cause a breakdown of the entire emergency response efforts, even for organizations that otherwise have good planning in place. So it is essential that crisis management or crisis messages be disseminated properly and with sufficient detail to initiate the correct response. Now, sufficient planning, decision-making protocols, systems and equipment must all be in place for communications to properly occur over a wide range of environments. And as a key component of the entire plan, the communication effort needs extensive planning, and organizations should designate a crisis communication team to communicate with interested parties. So the most critical team members are the spokesperson and the employee in charge of the overall communications, which is a single individual and may be performing both functions, actually, in some organizations. And the employee or employees with these responsibilities must have direct contact with the CEO, the incident commander, and other key executives. And the team members and the backup team members need to be selected for the following contact responsibilities. So here they are on these. This slide kind of encompasses most or all of them. We have media communications, employees, employee relatives, website update, voicemail update, clients, prospects, shareholders, financial relationships, government contacts, regulators, emergency organizations, utility companies, corporate headquarters, corporate insurance companies, alternate site providers, suppliers, subcontractors, vendors, customers, unions, and neighbors. And various methods of communication that may be used regarding crisis information include press briefings and press releases, public and employee meetings, conference calls, websites, mailings, newsletters, and advertisements. Now, most executives are untrained to discuss crisis with media. Large organizations have senior executives who are professionally trained to deal with the media. Such training is also useful in non-crisis but otherwise newsworthy events where there is interaction with the media. Now, there should be a single source for information to the media, and this will help prevent conflicting reports that may occur after a crisis strike. So individuals who answer phones need to know where to direct incoming calls from the media. All unauthorized employees need to be instructed not to speak with the media. And media communication steps are: first, alert the spokesperson. Next, gather and confirm the facts. Then you have prepare a statement, then notify stakeholders, and finally respond to the media. And your key questions will include: what happened? Were there injuries or deaths? How did it happen? What is the extent of the damage? What is being done about it? And when will it be remedied? Now, in conducting press briefings and providing press releases, observe media deadlines and give media equal access. And effective crisis communication considers the target audiences, determines the key message, and communicates in an appropriate way. And when being interviewed, a few basic concepts to keep in mind are: be prepared for tough questions, keep responses simple, avoid technical terms, be honest, do not place blame, respond to every question, never speculate, avoid no comment when you can. There are going to be times where you're not going to want to comment, but nonetheless, that's how you foster transparency and trust. You want to avoid the no comment remark. Never discuss matters off the record, because they will eventually become on the record. A lot of times, if you're appointed to a leadership position in an organization that is highly susceptible to interaction with the media, it's not a bad idea to come up with scenarios and train this, practice this, come up with practice questions you think the media could ask you, based on common occurrences. And in conducting press briefings and providing press releases, observe media deadlines, give media equal access. Um, and some of these interview guidelines here confirm that human life and safety is the top priority. Do not discuss injuries until family has been informed. Confirm that environment is a top priority. Present information in an accurate, timely, and clear manner. State what is known and unknown and what you intend to find out, and preserve security and confidentiality. Now, the organization should identify a media room that can be used to communicate information to the various media sources, and it is a good idea to keep reporters away from the crisis scenes and away from employees who are not authorized to speak with the media. And communication systems serve a wide variety of purposes as follows. First, emergency warnings. Next, you have ongoing information during a crisis. And third and finally, you have internal department communications. Now remember, communication systems must be able to contact employees in several environments, including at the workplace, on workplace grounds, at employee homes, in transit, and at alternate locations. And key features regarding communication equipment and systems include the following: reliability, communication speed, the range, two-way communication, special group contact, security, and message detail. Now, communication systems may fail as a result of power outages or damage to telephone lines or cell towers, so communication reliability may be improved by use of redundancy. And every organization needs to examine the communication systems and equipment currently in use. Communication systems encompass a variety, a very wide range of technologies and equipment. It is necessary to have multiple specific purpose systems to properly communicate with users located in various environments, and each system will have at least some area of weakness, so it is important to examine each system carefully, and observations regarding some of the more common communication systems and equipment in use are as follows. You have your landline phones, cellular phones, voicemail, satellite phones, email and internet, PDAs, two-way radios, and social networks, and finally intercom and alarms. So your landline and cellular phones, these devices are nearly universally in use within business community and in very wide use among employees. Both systems are fast, have excellent range, and permit detailed two-way communication. Cellular phones allow for contact in nearly all physical environments. Reliability is good, but landline phones are dependent on wires, and cell phones are dependent on towers. So both systems have power requirements, and cell phone systems can become overloaded and shut down. Voicemail systems are in wide use for disseminating information to employees and to other interested parties. Voicemail systems should be able to handle a large number of incoming calls and have be able to update and remove data as necessary. Ideally, the voicemail system should be located off-site to avoid disablement from a crisis that directly impacts the organization location. And satellite phones are devices that communicate directly with satellites in space and are not commonly in use within the business community. Although I was about to say SATCOM, satellite communications are too expensive for normal usage, satellite phones are extremely reliable after a community-wide crisis strike. With proper power backup, satellite phones will function when other long-distance communications fail. Now, organizations located in regions subject to community-wide crisis events should seriously consider having at a minimum, or at least a minimum number of satellite phones available for critical communications. Next, you have email and internet communications are universally in use within the business community and in wide use among employees. These systems are fast, they have excellent range, and can accommodate two-way communication. Additionally, internet access has the potential of employees accessing the computer system or cloud computing, and this allows many employees to perform normal services in distant and undamaged locations. Now, although the communication infrastructures have many redundancies, the communication infrastructures and normal power supply infrastructures could be physically damaged by a community-wide crisis. Now, PDAs or Blackberries, now these have evolved to be known as our modern day smartphones. These devices combine the features of voice and data communications, basically combining all the advantages identified under cell phones, email, and the internet communications. Two-way radios, these devices are not in very wide use among employees, but many larger organizations have these communication devices for facility and security services. Communication range is limited, but with proper power backup, these systems are highly reliable, and these systems are valuable for internal communications within the workplace in a crisis post-strike environment. Social networks. In recent years, social networks such as Facebook and Twitter provide messaging services that can be used primarily for disseminating information. There's excellent capacity, possible two-way communication, and except for possible phone charges and free services. Um, so there are some advantages to the platform. The only thing is, it's going to be hard to maintain confidentiality. There are other limitations. Security is lacking, and users must actively participate and have access to their device. Considering the constraints, social networks can provide a good backup, but not primary communications in service. It's only good as a backup. Intercom, fire alarm, and Siren. These systems are all low-tech systems that have good reliability and are primarily used to communicate crisis information during working hours at organization locations. Now, the systems can communicate information fast, such as a fire alarm to evacuate and a siren to shelter in place, but do not permit two-way communications for special group contact. Fire alarm and siren systems generally do not provide detailed information, so virtually all modern buildings have fire alarm systems. Many buildings have intercom systems, and although sirens are not commonplace in buildings, many communities have siren systems. High-tech emergency notification systems have emerged over the last few years. These systems have been applied in the government and higher education areas. High-tech emergency notification systems are automated mass notification systems that can deliver detailed messages fast and accurately. Communication can be made to a wide range of devices, including landline, cell, and satellite phones, computers, emails, PDAs, Blackberries, your smartphones, and others. During a crisis, individual communication infrastructures often fail. The availability of high-tech emergency notification systems to utilize multiple communication infrastructure is an important feature. Now, when a crisis emerges, there is frequently a need to disseminate information immediately. The best planning and equipment will be effective at the onset of the crisis if the authority to communicate the information cannot be made rapidly. Emergency information regarding the most sudden emergencies such as fire, shootings, or severe accident is disseminated immediately by the initial responders or by the security department. It is important for initial responders and the security department to have the authority to act on any and all life-threatening and or environmental emergencies. You do not want them to have to gain special permission from the CEO or any other authority to disseminate messages that are of immediate nature. So in larger organizations with a sophisticated BCM program that is expensive to activate, full program activation must be authorized by the incident commander. And as it stated earlier, the security department and the initial responders, who often act through the security department, must have direct access to all incident commanders listed on the chain of command. And that concludes our Chapter 11 lecture. It was a short one. Please visit Blackboard for your Chapter 11 expectations and deliverables, and I will see you in Chapter 12.